Welcome, everybody. We're glad to have you with us. I'm Don Snow, and I'm in Provo, Utah at the moment. I'm a snowbird between St. George and Provo, up north now, where it's a little bit cooler than down south. Today is the 22nd of June of 2021, and we're in our family history classes, family history update, and UV tag, that's Utah Valley Technology and Genealogy Group weekly classes. Today's class is on the VLC media player. Now, VLC, I think it stands for Video LAN Company, but it's the Video LAN is the name of the company, but VLC is what everybody calls it. And so we're going to be talking about that today. Down at the bottom of the screen there, you see where the notes are stored. And Gerhard Roof, who's the host for us today, and he's the host for all of these things. He's a technology guru. He will post that link as well as a PDF copy of the notes, which are on that link right now in the chat box so that you can download it. Now, that's on Zoom, if you're watching this on Zoom. If you're watching this later on Facebook or on YouTube, there'll be a link that you can also click, and that same link will work down there to get the notes for you. The VLC media player, here's the things we're going to be talking about. It's a free open source media player. Now, what that means is the fact that it's open source means that if you know enough about programming, you can actually get the full code for it and modify it yourself. Now, most of us don't do that because we use the tools, but we don't know if, at least for me, I don't know enough about changing all the programming stuff. But most of these open source programs are so well done that there's plenty of preferences and everything I need on there. This VLC media player is a free player, and with family history stuff, we have all kinds of things that we need to play, both audio and video, and it will play most audiovisual formats. There are probably a few that it won't, but the vast majority it will, unlike some of the other programs. We're going to be talking about some of the basic features, enough to get you going, so that there'll be stuff that you can actually use it for. And then there's a bunch of advanced features, most of which we'll maybe mention, but not show you how to use them or very much, because I don't even know how to use most of them. And then we'll look at a bunch of examples of how you do it and some stuff related to it. Now, the class notes, the handouts, that's the link right there, where the link where all my class notes are stored, and that's my web page, and so they're always there, and they're all there from all the past classes. If you want to go back to any of the earlier classes and get the notes, they're all there. Let's take a quick look and switch over. Now, I'm going to show you, I'm holding up, I don't know whether you can see it very well because of the problem with the webcam, but I just print off the notes. This is just I shrunk it down to 2 pages, and I just put it in a little a sheet protector so that I've got a copy of the notes in hand. Let's actually look at those notes. I'm going to change this, Alt-Tab, and go to here. Well, let me go first of all to this is the link. Let me widen that out a little bit so that it'll come over there a little bit further and make it a little bit better for you to see. This is my class notes page where that link takes you to. And there are some sub pages here with various other things on them. And then here's a list of the classes coming up. And you notice that this is class number 1 here. That's today's date, 2021-06-22. That's the 22nd of June of today, 4th Tuesday. And we're talking about the VLC media player. Now, all the past classes in the notes are all down here below. The past 2021 classes, and then the past classes in 2020, and all that stuff, they're all down there. Now, if you click on the notes right here on that VLC notes, it opens up the notes, and that's what this tab is that I've already opened it. So it's right here. So this is the handout for today. There's an abstract there that tells you what we're looking at. The VLC is a free and open source program, an audio and video player for files. And I've been using it now for several years, for probably 15 years. And it is for me, it's been one of the best things for the players because of its. It will do so many different sorts of things. Now let's go through the notes quickly here to show you what's here. There's a welcome and an introduction here on the notes, and there's my email address, and it's usually at the top of the notes and the top of the other pages too. If you want to email me, if you're watching this later and you want to email me the question, I'll be glad to try and see if I can answer it for you later on. The notes are there. That's this link where these notes are stored. And there's a couple of tips here for about using browsers and the web pages, and most of you are aware of that, so I won't take time to go through those. But if you're new, you might want to read through those because it'd be helpful. The problem for today, item 4, the problem for today is what is VLC, and how do you get it, and what will it do, and how do you use it? There's the VLC website, and there's a link to the website. All these links on the notes are active links, so you can log on. If you use these, and if you use the printed version, you got to type it in yourself. If you use it on the online version on my website, it will. The links are all hot, so you can just click on them and it'll take you there. So there's the VLC website where you can download the program, and VLC is available for Windows, for Mac, for Linux, for mobile. It's cross-platform for everything, and that's one of the major advantages of it. Is it's good for everybody. It's free and open source, and it's got enough preferences that most of us won't need to try and modify it. We just set the preferences the way we want. In fact, the default preferences are what most of us can use. It's got all kinds of good, helpful things in it. And for some reason, I don't know why, it's item 8 here. The icon is a traffic cone, like you see on the streets where they're working on the track. I don't know why they picked that. I have no idea, but that's the icon for it. There's a couple of references here. There's VLC for Dummies, which is always a helpful sort of a book. Article on how you use it. There's keyboard shortcuts, and I actually printed off keyboard shortcuts and have a copy of that. Well, it's not here. It's like this thing that I had before, but I just put it in a folder. But I don't usually use the shortcuts that much because I usually just click on it anyway. There's a good 7-minute VLC video, a YouTube video tutorial. It's for an earlier version, but it essentially shows you all the stuff. And you can skip it starts off, if you don't click, you have to watch some kind of an ad at the start. But there's a thing that is click here to skip the ad. So skip the ad if you don't want to take time to watch it. But the video is about 7 minutes long, and it's helpful because it's got some good stuff in it. Now here's the basic features. And we're going to be looking at examples of some of these basic features here in just a couple of minutes. It'll play most audio and video formats. And I've listed right here a few of the formats, the extensions for files for audio first there. .wav, wave files, .mp3, .wma, .m4a, .cda, and so on. If you rip a CD, ripping means if you copy a CD onto your hard drive, which I have done. I've got a major collection of CDs, and so I copy a lot of those onto my hard drive so that I can use them on the hard drive. You depending on what you get and which way you do it, you may get. Well, it could be any one of those things, but usually it's CDA or a WMV, something like that. WAV is the kind of a file that is most accurate. It's like the difference between a JPEG versus a TIFF file in photographs. The TIFF has all the details. And it doesn't change if you save it and so on. That's like a WAV file. MP3s are much smaller files, but they do it at the expense of cutting out some of the high frequencies and the lows and so on. And even with my poor hearing, I can tell the difference between an MP3 and a WAV file. So I always archive stuff in WAV or some permanent file format. And then if you want to make a copy, you can make a copy into MP3 if you want to put it on a smartphone or some such thing as that. For videos, here's some of the video extensions, WMV, .avi, .mp4, and so on. And it'll handle, VLC will handle all these, and you'll see some examples of these later on. You can set it as your default media player. So if you just click on a file, a media file, it will start playing in VLC. And we'll see that here in just a couple of minutes. There's various things you can do in ways to set to play files. And one of the things I like about it is that you can say, here's a folder, open this folder and play all the files that are in this folder. And it will start at the top and play the folder. Even if it's got subfolders, it will start playing the files in the subfolders as well. And so when I do a CD, when I rip a CD to my hard drive, it will, I can just say, click on that folder and start playing, and it'll play the files from there. It also has a way of showing the artwork of the file. If you've downloaded this from someplace like Internet Archive, I'll show you some examples of that here in a minute, where there's artwork involved, like the picture of the old record, the old 78 record. It'll show that on there as well. Or if it's a CD, it will show you the picture on the front of the CD and so on. It's got, and we've got a lot of nice features that you can use. And how you can set up your own playlist, but I find it simpler just to copy the files that I want to play into a folder and then just say, play everything in that folder. And then I can put them in there in the order I want, and it'll play them in that order. It's got a bunch of additional features, and some of those are mentioned here. But one of the main features that this does that most other media players do not do is if you're playing a video and the sound is not synchronized exactly with the lips, VLC has a way that you can move them back and forth so they get the audio exactly where it matches the lips. I find it really distressing to watch a program where the sound is way off. It just drives me crazy. Even with my poor hearing, it drives me crazy. But this is one program that has a way to move that around and to straighten that up. And lots of other good features. It can actually record stuff, but in trying to record stuff, it is so hard to use it for that. After 2 hours, I finally was able to record a little bit of stuff, but it's not the simplest program to use for that, and so it's probably not a good one for recording. But it has lots of good stuff in it. And then there's the conclusions of it. Now, let's go back to our Impress and start looking at some examples and some demos of the program itself. All right, now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to, let's see, I got to get to, I guess I don't have it running here, so I'm going to have to go here and do a Windows D. And this is that icon right here that looked like a traffic cone. I'm going to click on it to run it. Here it is. Now this is it running. Here's the icon right there in the center of it. Up across the top here, VLC Media Player. It's got over here on the left side, each one of these things is a menu as you look down it. I'm going to click on menu and look at all this stuff that you can do. You can open a particular file, or you can open multiple files or a folder. This is the one I was telling you about where you click on a folder and then it plays everything in that folder. You can open a disk. You can actually play CDs, and you can actually use it to record a CD, copy it onto your hard drive. But I've got another program that I use that has much more flexibility for that, so I don't use this for that. You can do network streaming stuff. You can do all kinds of stuff on here that you can do on that. We're going to look at here in a couple of minutes. We're going to look at some folders to play them, but let's just talk about some of these other things up here. Across the next one over here is playback, and look at all the options that you got here of different sorts of things. Some of these are grayed out because there's nothing going yet, but you can do various things with it further on down. Here's the audio. And though this is somewhat similar to the first part there where it says, what do you want to play, and so on. Here's the video thing. You can put in subtitles, and I'll show you a video with subtitles here in a minute. It's got some tools, and here are the tools. There's that synchronization, track synchronization. If the mouth don't match the words, you can click on that and so on. But all this other stuff is available. And then this is the view. This is what do you want to show of the different kinds of things. And most of the stuff that you're showing, I've got showing just the status bar. Down here at the bottom, lower left corner is where the controls are. This is where most of the controls are for it. Now let's do an example. I'm going to click up here on media, and I'm going to say, okay, I want to open a folder. I'm going to click on open a folder. Here's a thing like File Explorer, and I've got it set right now. I happen to have it set for music, a bunch of albums that I got. Pete Daly, he was a jazz cornet player that I grew up listening to in North Hollywood. We had him, he played at UCLA a lot and all that. And I loved his Dixieland. He called this Pete Daly and the Chicagoans. I have some old 78s of his stuff that I had recorded. Then I discovered that Internet Archive had all kinds of stuff. And so I started downloading some of his stuff. So it's set to go to that. I'll say, select that folder. Now, when it's done, it's selected that folder, and what you're hearing is that first song playing. This was his theme song, I Want to Linger. So that's Dixieland jazz. Some of you may not appreciate it, but I grew up listening to it and love it. Now, suppose you want to jump to the next one. Down here at the controls, you see there's one control that says go to the next. I'm going to click on that, go to the next one. Okay, now this is one, what I just played you was what I'd recorded. This is what I downloaded from Internet Archive. And look at the artwork that you see on there with the capital. That's what the label looked like. And so it's showing all that. I'm going to skip that one, go to the next one. This is I Want to Linger, downloaded from Internet Archive. You get the idea that if there's artwork associated with it, then it will show the artwork on there. There's another version of the thing. Now let me close that out. Let me click and close that out and show you another example on there. Let's see. I gotta start it over again, and I'll play you some. Let me get that started. I love Hawaiian music, and so I've formed a bunch of albums of Hawaiian stuff. So I click up here on music and favorites, someplace in here I've got these are albums. Any one of those I could click on and it would play through the whole thing. I think I called it Hawaiian albums or something. Yeah, Hawaiian albums. Here we go. Here's one. There's Alfred Apaka. I'm going to click on that and I'll say, okay, select that one. And here it is. It's playing Alfred Apaka on this. Now let me skip that. Let me skip to the second one in here, because the second one came from, there's the album cover. This is one I own, and so when I copied it copied the cover and the artwork on there too. And so as you play it, it shows that. I'm skipping to the next one. Here's the next song. Up here at the top are the songs. See, Alfred Apaka, upper left corner. Alfred Apaka, Beyond the Reef, playing in VLC. And what I'm clicking down here is I'm clicking on go to the end of the file. It'll run to the end of the file, and then it'll start with the next one. But if you want to skip that, just click on it, and there's the next one, and so on. And so anyway, it's very helpful for me. And sometimes I just set things and let them run and do the examples of what's happening with it. I find it just really helpful to just put stuff in a folder that I want to. I don't even set up a playlist. I just copy the stuff into a folder and then just say play everything in that folder. And depending on what I'm interested in at the time, why it'll play it. Now that's audio. That's just scratching the surface. But let's actually show you some video. Okay, let's go back to here and get to here. And the video I've got is right over here. Now I've set it as my default player. So anytime I click on a file that it will play, like this is one that I made up, Children Growing Up. This is my own kids. It's a short one. It's only about 2 minutes long, but it's about our family. And well, let me just play it for you. Now the sound will start up here.
Is this the little girl I carry? Is this the little boy at play?
That's Jim at Stanford getting his master's degree.
Yesterday, when they were
That picture was taken just 6 months before Dad died over in Hawaii with a family reunion. Now that's the story. That's an example of a slideshow. I made that up with, let's see, it's called, what is the name of that one? The photo film strip. Sometime we might want to talk about that. It does these Ken Burns type things where they're made with still pictures, but it moves around or it shows you or expands and contracts and so on. And this showed that we're showing in the program in VLC. So that's an example of what VLC will do. Now it'll play other videos, all kinds of different videos. Remember the different styles of videos that there are. There's a list of on here. There's some of them. The videos are right here. That one was an AVI that was playing with a subtitle section. So it played all that, but it'll play all these other varieties as well. For me, it's just been a wonderful, useful program, and I first learned about it many years ago from somebody. I was I think it was back in New Hampshire when I was visiting one of our kids, and somebody was showing a picture of something, and I said, that seems like a pretty nice program. Is that free? And he said, yeah, it's free. I said, what's it called? He said, VLC. I've started using it then, and that's been probably 15 or 20 years ago. And so I find it just really extremely helpful with what it will do. So here's a summary of what we've talked about. We looked at the VLC website. Well, we didn't really look at it, but it's on there. You can download the program. And remember that this comes from Windows and Mac and Linux and all the mobile devices. It's cross-platform on everything, and it's completely free. We looked at some helps and some tutorials of things that you can do, ways that you can find information about it. We looked at some of the basic features of the audio and video. We didn't look at very many of the advanced features, but it does have some other features of other things that you can do. And one of the things is you can move the synchronize the audio track with the video track if you want to. I set it as my default media player. So anytime I click on a file that that is a media just means either sound or video, it will start playing in that program. It'll bring it up and just start playing. And there's lots more, but that's enough to get you started on what's happening with it. And hopefully you'll find it helpful too. Now, if you have questions or comments, turn on your microphone and go ahead and ask. We went through that pretty fast, but hopefully you got the idea, and you can download a copy if you want to put it on your own computer. There are other programs, but this is one that I found that I like, and I've been using it for many years. Any comments, any questions that any of you have?
Don, I didn't see any comments or questions on Facebook or here in the chat on Zoom. Oh,
okay. It'd be interesting to know where some of you folks are from. Anybody on Facebook, or let us know. Just send a note, say, greet. I don't know that Rod Gagnon is on there from Clearback in Maine. And we've probably got people from other places in the US, but it's always fun to know where people are from.
Paralee has unmuted her microphone.
Oh, okay, Paralee.
Yes, I have some, and I'm wondering if I can use them with this type of program. I have some DVDs that were taken of some programs that I and others did in the Tabernacle in St. George. And I would really like to be able to put those DVDs on my hard drive on my computer. I have the DVDs just in a little package, a little thing. Can you do that with that program?
Yeah, you can. It will play DVDs and CDs. You can just open them up and play it in that from your DVD player. But it will also, you can just copy the files if they're in DVD. Now they're already digitized. The biggest problem that people have is they've got a audio recording and the tape recording or something, and they got to digitize it first. But if you've got DVDs, they are already in digital format, and those can be just copied off onto your hard drive. They'll take up a lot of space because DVDs are they take up space, but yes, you could play them directly in this, but you could copy it directly onto your hard drive and then just click on it and it would play.
I'd like to try that. I got a new computer recently and it has a lot more space on it than my old one did, so I probably have room.
This also has one of the advanced features is that in VLC is it will extract the audio track from a DVD.
Okay.
So if you want to just that takes a lot less space, but you can extract that so that then you could email that or send it out to anybody else or put that on a CD if you wanted to. But that's one of the advanced features that VLC has.
Yes, I have one DVD that John Garner sang in the Tabernacle many years ago, and he's passed away. And I'd like to, I would like to, get a copy somewhere, but I also would like to have a copy on my computer. So I'm going to work on that.
Yeah, just copy the whole DVD, copy the whole file directly onto your computer, and then with this thing set as its default, click on it and it will play the DVD itself. But if you want to, you could then extract the audio track separately, so you'd have the audio track alone without the video thing on it.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Any other questions anybody has, or comments on anything, or any other ideas that you have, any other uses that you might have? There's a lot of uses for audio and video stuff in family history. No getting around that.
Don?
Yeah.
I haven't tried using the audio extraction feature of VLC, but I found that Audacity does the same thing. You can pull an MP4 file into Audacity and you'll end up with an MP3 or a WMA or whatever format you want as an audio file.
Yeah, Audacity
it does it automatically without having to go through a bunch of steps.
Yeah, yeah, Audacity. The biggest problem with Audacity is it is so complete. It's hard to use. The learning curve on Audacity is hard because it's got so much in it, but it will do everything. The wonderful stuff. But it does not. It's much more audio oriented than it is video oriented.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Any comments or anything else that anybody has? Well, if not, for me, it's been wonderful to be able to meet with you. And this will be the last class for the summer for a while. We're going to take a break during July and August. We won't have any classes. We'll probably start again in September, though we'll have to see when and what the schedule is, depending on everybody else's schedule, and Gerhard's especially, as to what, because he's the guy that's the technology guru that takes care of all the stuff, and I don't know what we do without him. But this will be the last of our classes then for now. And if you do have any further questions and you want to email me, the email address is on there. And so you're welcome to email me and I'll try and answer them.
Don, Bruce has unmuted his mic.
Oh, Bruce, you got a question?
Good show, Don.
Thanks. Thank you.
Bruce, there was a similar comment from Rodney in chat.
Oh, good. Okay, great. Good. Thanks, you people. I appreciate it. Thank you all. We'll see you in the fall.